What's up, everybody? Monster Master Godzilla here, and I'm back, finally continuing the Godzilla-Thon. Now, I know it's been a while, because things have been really hectic lately, but now, here we are. I'm back, continuing the Godzilla-Thon. We're now up to Son of Godzilla. Now, what can I say about this one? This one has been split between... We're just getting started. Now we're getting to the weird stuff, okay? Depending on how you look at this movie, Son of Godzilla is either one of the worst or one of the best of the Godzilla movies. Me, personally, I actually enjoyed this one. I know, I understand that Godzilla is, like, out of his character in this film. Like, Godzilla's way out of his... The one thing I don't appreciate is that Godzilla's been a bit out of his character. Yeah, that's one of the things that one of the reasons people hate this movie. And there's also, and this is where it kind of targets the younger audience, too. Where they brought, the idea of Godzilla being a father is an awesome concept. But the problem is, like I said, Godzilla's out of his character. He doesn't destroy any cities in this film. The whole setting in this movie is once again on an island, just like in Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster. And other concepts is that the human characters, they're in the works of making some kind of technology that involves weather, which is one of the coolest concepts they got in there. But they realized But then they end up encountering some monsters that are on the island. Basically, they call it a monster island. Because this is before we realize they establish calling it a monster island. Or monster land, which we will be talking about in the next movie. So, in Godzilla shows up, and he finds himself, like, it began where the human characters were all in a plane on a dark and stormy night. And then they see Godzilla coming out of the water. But then they realized there's some brainwaves coming after that Godzilla's following. So then it was revealed that Godzilla ends up going on the island. And there are two monsters that actually appeared in this movie. The Kamacuras, which is those giant praying mantis creatures, which look like which kind of look like he would fit better as a King Kong enemy, which is this guy right here, Kamacuras, right here, the giant praying mantis monster. And Manila. And when they actually came up, they ended up finding an egg, which ends up hatching this little baby Godzilla named Manila, which is this guy right here. A lot of people hated Manila in this film. He's also referred to as Minya, and a lot of people hated Manila, which I can see. You either love him or hate him. I mean, I personally don't care about Manila. I mean, it's sad because he's the son of Godzilla. But, I mean, I like the idea of Godzilla being a father. But not just this little gray turd. Which, they did it better in the Heisei series, which I will be talking about soon. They did it better. Yeah, they made Godzilla being a father better in the Heisei series, which I'll be talking about soon, after the whole Showa series is over. So, but there are great, memorable parts which are actually very funny, and that's one of the reasons why this movie holds up. And the idea that, like, after Godzilla shows up, the Godzilla beats up the shit out of the Kamacurai, and Godzilla shows up and finds Manila, which is this little when he's first hatched out of his egg. He's like, "What is this thing?" So after he defends him against the Kamakura, Godzilla just walks away from him. But then there's this native girl which makes friends with Manila, which is this woman right here. This woman right here, and she makes friends with Manila. But then Godzilla comes around and then decides to take Manila in, like hitches a ride on his tail. And then Godzilla, there were great moments when Manila was bored, and he figured out some things to do, and Godzilla's trying to sleep. And Manila plays jump rope with his tail, when Godzilla's tail was all swinging back and forth like a cat. And then Manila trips over Godzilla's tail, and Godzilla's like waking up like, son, what are you doing? And then Godzilla goes back to sleep. And then Manila tries playing the jump rope with Godzilla's tail. And then Manila accidentally just jumped on Godzilla's tail and falls over, and Godzilla wakes up like saying, "Son, I'm trying to sleep." And that's pretty much that. And there was another moment where whenever Manila doesn't want to listen to Godzilla, he shakes and makes a squeaking sound, like throwing a temper tantrum. And Godzilla drags him around by his tail, all because he's not getting his way. And then the human characters talk about this giant spider creature called Kumonga, who's the main villain of the movie. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, in the English dub, they called the Kamacuras Gigantus, and Kumonga a Spiga, which, what on earth did they think was a really cool idea to name those characters Gigantus and Spiga in the English dub? That's stupid. Those names just sound, well, generic, I would say. So then after that, there was a moment where Godzilla teaches his son how to roar like him. And the last thing is that he's trying to teach his son how to breathe atomic breath. And then Manila starts being all scared to do it. There's a moment where Godzilla threatens to hit his son. Which, wow, what a mean dad. But the poor Manila only breathed smoke rings. So when he tried doing it again, Godzilla then steps on Manila's tail, causing him to shoot atomic breath. But then Manila tries to shoot atomic breath on his own, and this time he actually did it. So then they later got to a feature. But then one day they accidentally woke up Kumonga. Manila tries to take on Kumonga and Kamacuras on his own, and he still gets his ass handed to him. And there's weird moments where first the Manila starts sounding like a donkey when he's going. And then when Kumonga wraps him up in web, he sounded like a cat. So then Godzilla takes on Kumonga, and after the defeat of Kumonga, Godzilla and Manila ends up being in the snow, which the experiment was a success for the humans. So then Godzilla then finds Manila struggling to move in the snow, and he realized he can't turn his back on him. So then it was a heartwarming moment in a Godzilla movie, which the music alone sets the mood, And it's really heartwarming where you get to see Godzilla turn around and show his affection towards his son. And he hugs his son, showing he really cares about him. Which, now he's definitely a good father. It proves that he's a really great father, and he was a great father and a great loving father too. And that's the end of that movie. If you're a hardcore Godzilla fan and you want to see the son of Godzilla, well, would I recommend this? Well, not for every Godzilla fan. If you're a hardcore fan, you definitely grab this. But if you want to see the son of Godzilla in a better movie, if you really want to watch the son of Godzilla, probably stick to the Heisei series. They did a better job making the son of Godzilla than this one. But I mean, but it is important that if it wasn't for this movie, we wouldn't have the son of Godzilla in the Heisei series, which I will be talking about soon. And that's all I have to say, folks. And as always, stay awesome, my Monster Masters, and I'll catch you later. And next, we'll be reviewing Destroy All Monsters. And I'll catch you later, guys. Bye.